Hey there, movie fans. Welcome to the first edition of the MovieMantz Double-Feature. I'm your host, Scott MovieMantz. And before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for watching my other film series, Rank and File, which can be found elsewhere on my YouTube channel. I love doing Rank and File, and I was inspired recently by a tweet from my friend Hector Navarro when he asked the question, what would be your dream double feature to see in a movie theater? So I responded to that tweet with the two movies I'm going to talk about today on the MovieMantz Double Feature because I really thought, wow, this would be a really great conversation to have about two movies that belong together, the perfect double feature. Movies that could be tied together because maybe they're a movie and its sequel, or maybe they have a similar subject matter, the same director, same actor or actress. The sky is really the limit. But thank you, Hector Navarro, for the inspiration. And I'm going to go off and running with the response I gave your tweet, which is Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. You all know that my number one favorite movie of all time is, in fact, the original Blade Runner, or at least Blade Runner, the Final Cut. Blade Runner is a film that I didn't quite get when I first saw it in theaters in 1982. I was 13 years old, but it has grown on me over the years, and it has grown to become my number one fave of all time, a film that I still get something new out of every time I watch it. Let's get right to it with some stats about Blade Runner. Blade Runner came out on June 25th, 1982. Was directed by the great Ridley Scott, his first film after Alien. The budget, $30 million. Domestic gross was only $27.6 million in its initial release, so it was kind of a bomb. Rotten Tomatoes has it now at 90%, and Blade Runner is based on the book Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, written by Philip K. Dick. The screenplay adapted by Hampton Fancher and David Peoples. The score, my favorite score ever, by Vangelis. Blade Runner, when it came out in June of 1982, also released that same month was Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Poltergeist, The Thing. June of 1982 was the greatest month ever in science fiction history. But this movie kind of bombed. People didn't really get it. It was too cerebral. It was too slow moving. And this was not the exciting action-packed movie that a lot of people expected. Certainly not the movie people expected from the star of Raiders of the Lost Ark and two Star Wars films. Of course, I'm talking about Harrison Ford. One of the reasons the movie endures is because it asks great questions, provocative questions, especially what does it mean to be human? If a replicant, if an android that only has a 4-year lifespan has the ability to have emotions and think and feel and have memories, even if they're not theirs, even if they're just implants, doesn't that make them human? Also, the question is Harrison Ford's character, Deckard, a replicant? Blade Runner has endured because it is groundbreaking, it is trailblazing, it is so imaginative and visionary. And when it came out in 1982, it was so far ahead of its time. And I always felt like they shouldn't make a sequel. Don't make a sequel to Blade Runner. It doesn't need one. It's perfect just the way it is. But then finally, in 2017, they made a sequel, Blade Runner 2049, directed by Denis Villeneuve. Release date October 6, 2017. Budget $150 million. Domestic gross $92 million. Worldwide gross is $259 million. Rotten Tomatoes score is 87%. The screenplay written by Hampton Fancher, who wrote the original, and Michael Green. The score by Benjamin Wallfisch and Hans Zimmer. I was really against making a sequel to Blade Runner until I heard who was going to direct it. Denis Villeneuve is one of the very best directors working today, thanks to films like Prisoners, Sicario, and Arrival. He's directing the upcoming Dune remake. But if you're going to do a sequel to Blade Runner, you better tell a story that's worthy, a story that makes sense. And Blade Runner 2049 really does that. What if Rachel, the character played by Sean Young in the original film, what if Rachel had a baby with Deckard? What if a replicant was able to reproduce? Replicant, reproduce. REP being the first three letters of each word. That really changes the game. Tyrell, the Tyrell Corporation, went out of business. Wallace, who has sort of taken over the production of replicants, and he has evolved the replicants so they obey their masters and they're not so violent. But one thing he was not able to do was to make a replicant that could reproduce. And Tyrell, turns out, his replicant, the older model, was able to reproduce. But that wasn't the plan, even though Tyrell's motto was more human than human. And it turns out that his replicants were more human indeed. It does further the question of what does it mean to be human, and that is why Blade Runner 2049 is the perfect double feature to see with the original Blade Runner. Blade Runner 2049 is a superior sequel in every way, just like The Empire Strikes Back is a superior sequel to the original Star Wars in every way. These movies are perfect together, and Blade Runner 2049 is so great that it actually makes the original Blade Runner a better film. Blade Runner 2049 honors the original, it builds on it, it goes further with it, and both of these films together really, really do make the perfect double feature. Watch them both and let me know what you think. So, please let me know what films you think would make the perfect double feature. Hit me up on Twitter at MovieMantz or comment down below and let me know if you think that Blade Runner in 2049 would make the perfect double feature. Please like this video. Please share it with other movie fans, especially if those fans like Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. And please follow me on Twitter and Instagram at MovieMantz. And please watch my other show, Rank and File, elsewhere on my YouTube channel. Until the next episode of the MovieMantz Double Feature, here's looking at you, kid.